This is a stomping ground. Going to follow up here with a Faithless Looting. Well, if you're going to mulligan, not a bad card to have if you're going to mulligan to 3. Get some dredgers into the graveyard. Get the party started this way if you can. Though, no dredgers to put into the graveyard, just a Conflagrate and a Creeping Chill. A Vial going to go up to 1 here for Zan. Ancient Ziggurat is the land. And Zan's going to Vial in, I imagine, a Champion of the Parish. So there that is. Now he's going to follow it up with a human. And what human will he follow up with? It'll be a Kitesail Freebooter. Trigger goes on to the champ. Shriekhorn is now gone. And a Copperline Gorge is what's left here for Caleb. Caleb will untap his 1 permanent. He will draw. Looks like he picked up a copy of Shriekhorn.
Big draw.
Not bad. There is old Shrieky Horn. I think he's going to use this right now, perhaps. Yes. 2 cards will go into the graveyard. 1's a Cathartic Reunion. 2 is a Mana Confluence. And will he play the Copperline Gorge or not?
I feel like you want to play the Gorge because if you Shriekhorn into stuff that matters and then draw lane number 3, you can Faithless Looting and maybe be able to go.
I'm inclined to agree.
Although I guess if he Shriekhorns over a Dredger in the upkeep, he's just going to dredge and not play lane number 3. So,
Militia Bugler here from Zan. He'll sound the horn. Look at the top couple of cards. Bugler will reveal a Bugler.
Going infinite.
Yes, he is. And those cards will go to the bottom of the deck. Does he have a 2 to Vial out? Not. Doesn't look like it just yet. I take it back. He does. It's a Dahlia's Lieutenant.
It's a very strong opening for Syed, even if Scherer was on 7 cards. On 3, I believe we'll be going to game 2 shortly.
Yes, I believe you are correct. Shriekhorn will turn over a Faithless Looting. And a Cathartic Reunion. Caleb will draw. Picked up a Narcomoeba of all cards. And he will concede the game. So Zan Syed's going to very quickly win game number 1 here over Caleb Scherer. As humans, very quickly up a game over Dredge. We're going to start with Caleb's sideboard. You saw and learned more about this during the deck tech we had earlier with Caleb. He's got 4 Leon of the Voids, 3 Nature's Claim, 3 Thoughtseize, 2 Ancient Grudge, 2 Lightning Axe, and a Dark Blast. Most notably, no trophies of the Assassin variety.
Yeah, I think you're just going to see the Lightning Axes and the Dark Blast come in.
Pretty straightforward stuff.
Pretty straightforward stuff. I don't mind the Grudges, too, if you've got room to spare. It's a thing to handle Vial. Freebie if you mill it over. All that.
All right, well, that's just a couple of cards there for Caleb. Probably nothing too crazy as he'll be on the play here for game number 2. Ideally, he'll keep more than 3 cards. For Zan Syed, he's got 3 Knight of Autumn, 2 Izzet Staticaster, 2 Grafdigger's Cage, 2 Gaddock Teague, 2 Auriok Champion, 2 Tormod's Crypts, a Dismember, and a Whirler Rogue. A lot of cards here.
Yeah, you definitely want the Tormod's Crypts and the Grafdigger's Cage. I like Staticaster in this matchup as well. And Gaddock Teague as well for cutting off Conflagrate.
I like Staticaster. I like Cage. I like Teague a little bit. I like Champion a little bit. I like Tormod's Crypt. And I even like Whirler Rogue.
Sure. Yeah, Whirler Rogue's defensible.
I can get behind couple flying blockers and just a couple bodies across mana, maybe be able to attack for the win on a gummed up battlefield. So Zan's got a lot of options there. The question, of course, is what he wants to sideboard out in this instance. There are some cards that are pretty good. Like Meddling Mage isn't bad in this matchup. I like Freebooter on the play more so than on the draw because you're not going to be able to get a Cathartic Reunion. I hate Militia Bugler for reasons that everyone is aware of at this stage. I like Meddling Mage solely to stop Conflagrate.
Well, if you're bringing in Gaddock Teague.
Yeah, then you can slide down a little bit on those. And I'm not a huge fan of Reflector Mage after sideboard either, so I'd rather have some heavy-hitting interaction. So there's a lot of cards that Zan can move back and forth here, and we'll see how he opts to do so. He's already off to a great start here this weekend at 5-0 and up a game. But before we get to game number 2, we are going to talk about SCG Game Night. It is the very popular promotion where in October you can be ahead of the class.
And we have some other kits to show you as well in November. Rise and the Nashes, and then in December, Bramble Hopper Elite. You can head over to go.starsgames.com/game night, find out more information about Game Night, and find the Game Night closest to you. And stores, if you want to get signed up for Game Night, contact your Star City Games in-store play representative.
Well, Zan Syed is starting to make a name for himself quite a bit here on the SCG Tour. We already know Caleb Scherer quite a bit. He's an invitational champion. He's got loads of top 8s with Storm across all formats. But for Zan, he is really starting to do pretty well as a 26-year-old who resides in Atlanta, Georgia. 7 open top 8s. He's got that win, if memory serves, with Bant Spirits earlier this year. He enjoys exploring new restaurants in new cities as long as they're rated 4.5 or higher. Thank you very much.
Rated by whom?
That's a good question. Probably, what's the one that starts with a Z? Zagat?
Zagat?
I don't know how it's pronounced. I think that might be one. Maybe Yelp?
But who knows what a Yelp review is really worth?
Yeah,
that is anyone.
I know.
And you don't even know what a 4.5 is from the average human being. Does that mean they really enjoyed themselves?
Again, I agree. That's the rating system is it's tough. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I'll have to ask Zan a little bit more about that, perhaps. He loves basketball. I can approve this. Was born in L.A. Huge Lakers fan. Is that all of a sudden?
No.
Are you a Lakers fan recently?
That slide's been up there for a while.
Okay. And he did start Team Lotus Box, did Zan. They have nice sleeves.
They do.
I got to when we were at Grand Prix Denver, I shuffled someone who was playing with Team Lotus Box sleeves. They were nice sleeves. Zan Syed, team captain of Team Lotus Box, 26-year-old, Atlanta GA, currently up a game as well. Playing maybe Modern's best deck still here in Humans. Off to a great start. I'm going to say recent Lakers fan. That's what I'm going to say.
Yeah, I don't think that's true.
You know, he is from Atlanta, huh? Not a Hawks fan?
He said born in Los Angeles.
Huh? Sure he was.
Born in L.A.
Why isn't he a Clippers fan then?
Easy
to pick the Lakers.
Based on age, I'm guessing that he probably grew up during Kobe Bryant's peak years.
Yeah, and Sam Cassell's peak years. Choose one.
Yeah, Elton Brand.
Yeah, hello. Q and D.
Yeah.
Q Rich, D Miles, Lamar
Q Ball.
Pretty easy choice.
Darius Miles, Lamar Odom, Eric Piakowski.
Oh, yeah.
Michael Olowokandi.
And he sided with
celebrated basketball stars, one and all.
he sided with the golden purple. Ah, you're telling me he's not a front runner, huh? I don't believe you. Looks like Caleb might be taking another mulligan. I'll see his real Laker knowledge if he knows people on the roster during the down Kobe years.
The Smush Parker, Kwame Brown.
Yes, that's the first person that jumped to mind. Who was the point guard during the down Kobe years? Mm-hmm. Then we'll see if you're a true fan, Zan. It's easy to be a Kobe and Pau Gasol fan. Where were you at when they were starting Wes Johnson? And Xavier Henry. Do you remember that guy?
Xavier Henry?
I do.
Yeah. Yep.
When Nick Young was getting a lot of shots. Were you a fan then? As here's a faithless looting. I don't like that Nick Young's a free agent. Bring him to Cleveland. You could use him and JR together. Oof. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Counter Souls, naming human. Here's a noble hierarch. Stinkwind Imp's about to get dredged. 5 cards. Here we go. Prized Amalgam is 1. Bloodghast is 2. Life in Alum is 3. Mountain is 4. And Archimedes is 5. This is a good dredge.
Yep. A lot of battlefield presence incoming. A lot of dredgers to work with.
So Caleb has replaced his draw. He has a Creeping Chill in hand. And he already has a Creeping Chill in the graveyard. So that might not come up all that much in this game. As here's a Mana Confluence trigger. Let's get back a Bloodghast, shall we? That triggers the Amalgam again. And now here's a Thoughtseize. A little surprised to see this. Reflector Mage is a Staticaster. Auriok Champion. Thalia's Lieutenant, Thalia Guardian of Thraben, and an Ancient Ziggurat. It's a very good hand there for Zan Syed. And I'm curious to see what card Caleb wants to take here with the Thoughtseize.
His hand is not very good against Is it Staticaster. It's also not great against Auriok Champion.
Yes.
It's a tough one.
I think you can already say Reflector Mage. Okay, I'm going to let that go. I'm not going to take Thalia's Lieutenant either.
I think it has to be either the Auriok Champion or the Staticaster. Those two cards are just so... Both of them are so good against Caleb's hand.
Yeah, they really are. Staticaster can take care of Bloodghast forever, and Archimedes doesn't deal with the prized Amalgam, but that's what the Auriok Champion will be there for. So this is a difficult take here for Caleb. Not sure what he's supposed to take in this spot. Great hand for Zan.
I mean, I don't know if he can kill an Warrior Champion full stop. He has ways to kill the Staticaster down the line. That might be the tiebreaker here.
Yeah, the Staticaster's so good in the short term.
Yep, that's the other side of it.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to take the Staticaster. Continues to be a great sideboard card for humans, the Staticaster. So good that it has to be taken by a Thoughtseize here. As Caleb is going to write down the contents of Zan's hand. Again, a Reflector Mage, an Auriok Champion, a Thalia's Lieutenant, a Thalia Guardian of Thraben, and an Ancient Ziggurat. Those are the 5 cards that Zan's working with, and that's before he gets to draw a card for his next turn. Amalgam will come in from those triggers from Narcomoeba and Bloodghast. And now we're going to head back over to Zan. Zan will draw a card. Looks like he may have picked up a copy of Meddling Mage. Well, for Zan, the easy part's playing the land. Well, we're going to see him play an Ancient Ziggurat here in just a moment. There that is. The harder part is what creature do you play? Do you play Reflector Mage? Do you try to get an Auriok Champion on the battlefield so that every creature that you and Caleb do play gain a life?
Auriok Champion's also, really shuts down Scheerer's attacks on that table too. But
yeah, Reflector Mage not too bad at shutting down attacks. That'll take care of Prized Amalgam. And this also allows Zan to use all of his mana this turn so that he can, if he draws a land next turn, use all of his mana next turn with 2/2 drops. In the meantime, we're going to see a Life from the Loam be dredged, just a Lightning Axe, a Stinkweed Imp, and a Stomping Ground that'll be placed into the graveyard. The Life from the Loam will go to Caleb's hand, as that's his replacement for his draw. Caleb just going to come across here for 1 in the air. Zan's going to fall down to 19 thanks to the Narcomoeba. And there is a mana confluence, so it looks like Caleb's going to have to take 2. And I think we might see Faithless Looting played from the graveyard. And we will. So he'll flash back to Powerful Sorcery, and he'll start by dredging Stinkweed in. Loam, Gorge, Salvage, Looting, and another Gorge will go to the graveyard, and now he will dredge a Dalkmore Salvage for 1 in City of Brass and 2 in Stinkweed Imp. So the draw 2 part is done. Caleb's got to discard 2 cards here. But again, not the most explosive of dredges here for Caleb Scherer to get this game started.
Yeah, nothing of note there. Flipped over as well.
First dredge pretty good with the Amalgam, the Narcomoeba, and the Bloodghast to give him a battlefield presence, as you mentioned. But Reflector Mage kind of undid all of that. And now Caleb is thinking about discarding Stinkweed Imp and Prized Amalgam. Amalgam much better served in the graveyard than in hand. And Caleb will just have to pass the turn back, it looks like. So we'll head back over to Zan. Another land here would be great for him so he can play 2 spells in 1 turn. Looks like he drew a Noble Hierarch, so it looks like he still might be able to do that. Again, it just depends on how he wants to sequence here. He could go towards Thalia, Guardian of Thraben, to make it so that the Faithless Looting in the graveyard for Caleb costs 1 more. He could go towards Auriok Champion and start to get that established to make sure that he's gaining plenty of life over the course of the game.
I don't think there's a huge rush to get the Auriok Champion down at this spot. I think it's better for Syed to be disruptive here rather than focus on gaining an extra point of life here or there.
Looks like Zan's going to agree with you. He's going to go with Thalia and a Noble Hierarch into an attack here for 4 points of damage. 2 from the Reflector, 2 from the Exalted triggers from the Noble Hierarchs, plural. And Caleb's going to take that damage. And we're going to head back Caleb's way. Time to dredge with Stinkweed Imp. It's a mana confluence, a Prized Amalgam, a Gemstone Mine,
Shriekhorn and
Shriekhorn, and a City of Brass. For some reason, it looked like a bottled cloister for a moment there. That would have been strange.
Jody Keefe.
Yeah, I know. Got my wires crossed.
And now I don't think Scherer has untapped land number 4 here, so he may not be able to cast the Looting.
Well, he's going to tap 3 mana. And it's a painful Stinkweed Imp, but it's a Stinkweed Imp nonetheless. Dalkmore Salvage will be the land there for the turn. And he will pass the turn back with Caleb back over to Zan. Zan's got to be pretty happy with how things are going right now. He can keep the attacks coming here with a first strike creature. And he's been given plenty of time to actually unload his hand. And Zan will draw. Still has that Oriok champion hand. Hasn't really had much of a reason to play it just yet. Life total still plenty high there at 19.
Yeah, he hasn't been in a position yet where, he's worried about getting attacked by black creatures or that, his health total really matters at all. So he's developed this board with way more disruptive tools like the Reflector Mage and Thalia. It's nice to have the Oriok champion as backup, but I've liked that Syed has prioritized just developing his battlefield and being disruptive over trying to gain some life.
It'd be an unclaimed territory naming humans. And now there is Oriok champion. Finally, here is the Thalia's lieutenant. And now things are starting to get out of control. Starting to look like a humans deck again. This is why so many players continue to go towards this deck, because even its bad matchups, it still can find a way to win. Now, I'm not sure that Dredge is a bad matchup. I'd say it's a close one. But in the first game, obviously didn't look particularly close with Caleb mulling down to 3. And this one's not looking all that close for Caleb either. Not sure if Zan remembered the trigger to gain a life there with the Thalia's lieutenant. As it appears, his life total stays at 19. So we won't say anything about that just yet. But here's an attack there with a 5-power first striker, and we pass the turn back. Now for Caleb, he's going to Dredge Stinkweed Imp again. Amalgam, Thoughtseize, Shriekhorn, Loam, Lightning Axe will be placed into the graveyard.
Yeah, Scherer really needs Narcomoebas. That's the big thing here. He needs to trigger these amalgams and to have some flying chump blockers.
What's difficult here, too, for Caleb, this mana base here with these mana confluences and City of Brasses, they are getting to be painful. The damage is starting to add up.
Definitely. And if he flashes back here, even if you find a Narcomoeba, if you flash back a looting here, even if you find a Narcomoeba, the amalgams still return to the battlefield tapped. And Syed's going wide enough with his battlefield that it's not clear that you'll be able to survive combat, especially when you're taking 2 points off the mana confluences to do all of this.
Well, perhaps Caleb thinks to himself, I need to find an Narcomoeba really bad. I also need to find at least one copy of Creeping Chill.
Yes.
Now, what do I have to dredge? Well, starting with Loam is never great. That's not that many cards, but there is a Creeping Chill.
Well, he can't cast the Creeping Chill because he can't pay for it through Thalia.
Well, the Creeping Chill's free off the dredge.
Oh, it just triggers? It's not a cast?
Correct.
Okay.
I'm fairly sure. We can take a look at Creeping Chill just to make sure.
Like you can't counter a Creeping Chill that comes off the top?
Well, that's us. It's put into the graveyard from your library. You may exile it. Yes. Yeah, so
okay, this is just trigger. Yep. I thought it was a cast. So that's a little bit of breathing space at least.
So a little bit of breathing space, as you mentioned, but still in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
And didn't find an Narcomoeba.
Right.
So.
Yeah, he's just been unable to get anything going with the amalgams. It's been the big thing. And he's in a defensive posture right now, so it's not like the blood gas is worth a whole lot.
And if he were to try to attack with the blood gas, I think Zan would say, I'll take 2.
Yeah, it would. Or block, whichever.
Well, I don't think he wants to block because the amalgams will come back.
Right.
Yeah, so I think he just says, I'll take the damage. Tormod's Crypt was the draw and the play for the turn. You saw Zan even pay the 1 for that because of the Thalia, making it cost 1 more, and Caleb extends the hand. So Zan Syed's going to win this game and match here over Caleb Scherer. 2-0. Human's going to take care of Dredge, and for Zan Syed, it's a 6-0 start with Humans.
Yeah, Scherer never really got off the ground effectively. Another one of those games, a mulligan to 3, and then